Hi everyone, welcome back to CodeCraft Academy. If you haven't seen the first two parts of React State Management Tool series, please make sure to check them out. In this final part, we will explore one of the third-party state management libraries, that is Redux. Today we are focusing on advanced state management with Redux that help manage complex state in React applications. Let's see. In today's video, I'm going to discuss about what is Redux, why should I use Redux, when should I use Redux, Redux implementation steps, use selector and use dispatch hooks, practical implementation of Redux in React. What is Redux? Redux is a pattern and library for managing and updating application state using events called actions. Why should I use Redux? Redux helps you manage global state, that is the state that is needed across many parts of your application. The patterns and tools provided by Redux make it easier to understand when, where, why and how the state in your application is being updated and how your application logic will behave when those changes occur. When should I use Redux? Redux is more useful when you have large amounts of application state that are needed in many places in the app. The app state is updated frequently over time. The logic to update that state may be complex. The application has a medium or large sized code base and might be worked on by many people. Coming to Redux implementation step, the first step is install Redux and React Redux. Second step is create individual reducers. Third step is create action creators. Fourth step is create a root reducer. Fifth step is set up the Redux store. Sixth step is provide the store to the React application. And the final step is connect React components to the Redux store. Coming to the two main important hooks in while implementing Redux in React are use selector, use dispatch hooks. Use selector. This hook extracts data from the Redux store state. And coming to the use dispatch, this hook provides a reference to the dispatch function from the Redux store, which is used to dispatch actions. Coming to the practical implementation of Redux in React, let's dive into the action and start implementing the Redux state management tool in React. Let's move to the VS Code editor. The first step in Redux implementation in React is installing Redux toolkit and then React Redux. Let's do that first. npm I React Redux redux.js/toolkit and press enter. This will install two packages, that is React Redux and then Redux toolkit. This is the first step. So we are done with the first step. Let me clear and close the terminal. Now let's start with the second step, that is creating individual reducers. Let me create individual reducers. So inside reducers folder, I'm going to create a file called counter reducer. So in this demo, I'm going to show you a simple application, that is a counter application where will have two buttons. One is increment and other one is decrement, and displaying the count on the page. Okay, so for that, let me start with designing the required code for this. This defines the initial state of the counter. This initial state defines the initial state of the counter. Next thing is reducer definition. So counter reducer. Reducer function takes two parameters, that is current state and then action type. State equal to initial state. I'm assigning a default value. If no value is available, this default value will be considered. Okay, and then action. So inside reducer function, what we're going to do is, based on action type, we perform either increment or decrement. So for that, let me add a switch case, and then based on action type, I'm going to perform the operation and update the state accordingly. So let's say if action type is increment, what I'm going to do is, I just simply return the state after updating it. Okay, so if it's increment action, I simply update, increment the count and then return. If it's decrement, we should decrement the count and then return. If it's a decrement, simply decrement the count and then update the state. This is if the action doesn't match with either increment or decrement, we simply return the state. So this is about counter reducer. Let me export so that we can use this counter reducer in other files. Okay, so now we are done with the second step. The third step is create action creators. So let me add a folder and say Redux demo, that is, name it actions. Inside actions, let me create a file called index.js. So the action creators, nothing but they are the functions which will return action objects. Okay, let me create action functions or action creators. Export const, first action creator is increment. This simply returns action object, that is type increment. Type increment. So in the similar way, let me create one more action creator for decrement. So we are done with action creators, that is third step. The fourth step is create a root reducer. So inside reducers folder, let me add a file index.js. So this root reducer is going to combine all the individual reducers. Okay, so this will give single point of entry for all, or single point of access to all individual reducers which you're gonna implement or which you're gonna use in your application. Okay, let me start with. So for this, what we have to do is we should import one module from React, from Redux, that is combined reducers. And then we're gonna use, or we're gonna declare root reducer, const root reducer combine reducers. This combined reducer function takes objects. This takes objects of individual counter reducers. Okay, counter. We have only one individual reducer which we defined earlier. Okay, that is a counter reducer. So with this we are done with creating root reducer. Let me export it. Okay, so we are done with fourth step. The fifth step is set up the Redux store. So let me start creating a Redux store now. Okay, create folder store. Inside store, let me create one file, that is index.js. Okay, let me create a store now. Inside it we're gonna access our root reducer. Okay, let me rename this. Instead of index, let me have a store. So here what we're gonna do is we should create store. So for that, what we have to do is we should import configure store from the Redux toolkit, and then we simply create store, const store equal to configure store. This takes again objects as I said. So reducer root. So we should pass root reducer to this store. So with this we are done with creating a store or configuring store. Let me export store. Okay, now we are done with configuring store for our application. Okay, that is the fifth step. Now what is the sixth step? Provide the store to the React application. So what we have to do here is go to index.js and then provide the store what we created right now, that is what we configured, this store to the React application. So go to index.js and then provide access. Okay, let me go to the React. Where is the index.js? Yeah, index.js. Go here. Here what we have to do is we should wrap this app component inside provider, which takes one property, that is store. So we already created our configured store, so we pass that to here, and then so now with this we are done with providing the store to the React application. Okay, now the final step is connecting the React components to the Redux store. So for that, let me go to the app.jsx. So as I said earlier, in this demo we are going to create a simple application. So where we're gonna have two buttons, one is to increment and other one is to decrement, and one header to display the count. Okay, let me add buttons first. Button, that is increment. Okay, button to increment, one more button to decrement. Okay, and then here in the header what I said is we're gonna display the count value. So for that, what we're gonna do here is we simply rename this, let's say count. To display count, what we have to do is we should get the count from the store, or state count state from the store. So as I said earlier, we have two important hooks to perform the required operations for our Redux what I can say React state management. That is use selector. This selector will extract the data from the Redux store, and then the second one is use dispatch. This hook provides a reference to the dispatch function from the Redux store, which is used to dispatch actions. Okay, so let me make use of use selector to get the state from the Redux store. So for that, const count equal to use selector which takes a selector function to retrieve the state from Redux store. State dot root. Why we are providing root here is if you look at the root reducer and then what we are providing to the store. If you see here, where is the store? Let me go to the store, I'll tell you. If you see here, for store we are providing root reducer, that is root. If you go inside root, what we are doing is for root we are providing the individual reducers, that is counter, that is counter reducer. So to access inside counter reducer, we have a state. Let me go to the counter reducer. If you see here, we have a, where's the initial state? Yeah, here we have a count. So to access the count, what we have to do is, where is that? Yeah, app.jsx. So what we have to do is state dot root dot counter dot count. With this we get access to the count state. Next thing is dispatch. Use dispatch to dispatch actions. Use dispatch. Okay, now here we are going to display count. COUNT. Okay. So for when we click on increment, we should handle one on click event. That is on click. What we have to do is we should simply dispatch increment action, right? For that, make use of dispatch which we created earlier. That is this dispatch. So dispatch, inside it let's call the action creator, that is increment. So this action creator will return action object, that is increment, type increment. So with this we are done with increment button. The next one is decrement. Let me handle on click event for this decrement as well, where when we click on decrement we should handle the decrement operation, that is dispatch, call the decrement action creator, okay, which will return decrement action object. Okay, with this we are done with both buttons. Let me add some styling, that is margin, so that it will look good, otherwise it won't be that much good. Okay, let me add here as well. Now let me start the application. So the React application starts on local port 3000. The command to start application is npm start. This will start the React application on port 3000. Once done, let me go to the browser and then open localhost 3000 port, which will give, or which will run our React application. See here. Now let me zoom it. Let me zoom. Yep, sorry. If you see here, yeah. So we have a two buttons, increment, decrement, and then one header to display the count. Let's try incrementing it and then see whether the state is getting changed or not. Okay, we got one error. Actions may not have defined. Actions may not have an undefined type. Property have misspelled a constant. Okay, let me check what is wrong with actions. Okay, I misspelled the type. Let's save now and then try. Yeah, if you see here, it's getting incremented. Whenever we click on increment, it's incrementing. Let me try with decrement. See, decrement also, it's working fine. So as we design, the Redux is working properly to maintain our state for our React application. Okay, thanks for watching. This is for today's video. If you like, please do subscribe and hit bell icon for more technical tips and tutorials, and share this with your friends. Please do subscribe for our channel to get more videos on React and JavaScript interview questions and even front-end challenge interview questions. Please do subscribe. Thank you.